a beautiful lake. And when he approached the lake, he found his 4 brothers lying there, appearing to be dead. When he was shocked to see that, he was wondering what happened. How could his so valorous and strong brothers could be, and by whom, be killed? How it would be possible at all? He was wondering. He heard the voice, and that was called Yaksha, who later on appeared in the form of a crane. And he said, I have did it to your brothers. I warned them that don't touch the water without answering my questions, but they ignored me, and that's why this is what happened to them. You see for yourself. And this is same for you. I am asking you to first answer my question if you want to get some water from this lake. And Yudhishthira agreed. You know how many questions were asked? Officially 33 questions. 33 questions were asked by Yaksha. And then those 33 questions were not just one single questions. Within one questions, there are some of those questions that carried 3, 4 or more parts of those questions. Each of them were different questions. So in total, 126 questions were asked. And Yudhishthira was so learned and so wise a person that he could give most satisfactory answer or reply to Yaksha, answering all those questions. That in itself was not a small thing. 126 different things he had to explain properly, and Yaksha was very satisfied. Yaksha says, okay, yes, I permit you to take water, and not only that, I am so happy with you, so satisfied. I am going to give back life, return back life to one of these 4 brothers. You pick whom. And then Yudhishthira said, in that case, please give life back to my brother Nakula. Now that surprised Yaksha apparently. And Yaksha asked, why Nakula? I understand that your brothers Arjuna or Bhima are much more valuable to you as brothers. All brothers are valuable, but they are so useful for you when you return back to your kingdom. Why do you want Nakula back? And then his reply was that we 5 brothers, we are step brothers, 3 of us, myself, Arjuna and Bhima. We are children of Kunti. Nakula and Sahadeva are children of my stepmother Madri. So because I am alive, one of my mother's one son is alive, so other mother, my another mother must have his one son at least alive. Nakula is older than Sahadeva, so that's why I am asking for Nakula. And Yaksha then was very pleased and he revealed his identity. He was the Dharmaraja himself, Yama, And he said just he was testing. So he gave back all the four brothers, brought them back into life, and this was the episode. Now this episode is there in the Mahabharata. And this episode is very well known. You ask anyone who has got any amount of understanding, some study of Mahabharata or just a little bit, he will say, yes, I know about Yaksha Prashna, and Yudhishthir answered and all this. And ask him, tell us 5 of those questions. Out of 126, give me 5. Any 5. Hardly anybody will be able to give you 5 questions that Yaksha had asked. Whereas, everybody remembers one question, and that question was that what is the most surprising thing? Kim Ascharjam? This was the question, a part of a question. And the answer that was given by Yudhishthira is remembered by us. Through thousands of years, in our society, the Hindus, they remember this was the answer Yudhishthira gave. Yudhishthira said, Ahani ahani bhutani gacchanti yama mandiram sesa sthavaram icchanti kimascharjam atapparam. This answer everybody remembers. Most of you perhaps would be able to repeat this thing. Yeah, this we remember. But this is not the only question Yaksha was asking. He asked many other questions, but this was the most crucial question. This is the most crucial question, and that's why we remember. It brings to us the fundamental message of Vedanta. Why this happens? That people die and everybody dies, not only people. Can it be peaceful? Thank you. That so many people, creatures and people and everyone dying all the time. There is a huge procession of death around us. Don't focus on your only men and people. Oh, there was a bomb blast here and there and so many people died. What about the creatures? What are the creatures? They are dying in tens of thousands all around us. Sometimes we could see them, sometimes we don't, but they are there. The world is full of death. Born also in millions every moment, and dying also millions in every moment. And this is happening in front of our eyes. We, in course of time, we take it, accept it, that death is a part of life, but we don't believe that I am going to die. This is a very, very important message, because immediately after that, if someone would ask why you don't believe that you are going to die? And this is not about just you, it is about everybody, everyone. People grow old, they become very, very inactive, they are even at bedridden state. No one is in a mood of thinking that I am going to die or I am absolutely prepared for death. everyone is lingering on, thinking that I'm still going to live for some time. Why? And the answer is from our holiest of the holy scriptures, because you are not what you look like in mirror. That's why. Because you have got some way, some intuitive feel, understanding that you are not going to die. Actually, you are not going to die. That's why. So this answer, this is the message of Vedanta. This is the message, this is the immortality in us. This is how we could interpret that particular question and the answer given, and why that answer is so very strongly imprinted in our memory. And we continue with that from the Mahabharata story. We don't remember that there were 33 questions were asked. We don't remember that 126 actually separate questions have been asked. We don't remember what were those questions, what were the answers. That would be academic study of Mahabharata, going into details and trying to do. But this one, we don't have to do academicians. We remember, we understand. So we have this question eternally asking in different societies at some point of time or other. And we could call that to be the reason why many different religions have developed. This question that has been also found in many Upanishads, this question of who am I? Because when I said that this is the message of Vedanta, that I am not what I look like, and therefore when we talk about death, we cannot relate with me. Intuitively we cannot. But then who am I? This question. Who am I? Where from I am coming? And where to I am going? What is the destiny? This question, this question is the beginning of the quest or the questioning that defines a religion. Unless this question is seriously asked, people cannot live a serious spiritual life. The religious life will be just ritualistic. You go to temple, you just pay your reverence, you come back, you really are not asking anything. But when these serious questions are raised in your heart, and this has been happening through ages. This question, why it is happening through ages? It has been asked in the past, and it is being asked now in present, and in future also it will be. So, are this question never answered? No, it is answered. All the answer is there in the Upanishad and Bhagavad Gita, and we chant them, we give the talk, and everybody say that yes, I know and I understand, but still the question lingers, because in the Kathopanishad it has been said that unless and until you have realized the truth of this answer, your question will not be solved actually. Your question still will linger. Doubts will not go away from your heart and mind, and you will not know the meaning of this answer. What we read in the Upanishad, what we read in the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, what he is saying, do we really understand everything? Sri Ramakrishna had said in one place, we read in the Gospel, okay, what I am reading, sometimes he says, whom I am telling and who is understanding. This is also there in one place. Another place he says, let me tell you something, you just hear it at some another time, you will say, oh yes, I have heard this from him. So, whatever we read, whatever we understand, That doesn't mean that we have fully absorbed it and we say that yes, I have understood. Question lingers. Who I am? Where from coming? What is the source? Where I am going? What is the point of everything? This question is a basic question in religion. And the Vedanta says that you are the Atman, you are immortal. And the Bhagavad Gita says, and Upanishad also says, nobody can kill you, you cannot be destroyed, you cannot be finished, there is no beginning of you and nowhere you are going to end, and you will be eternally existing as it is, changeless. Changeless, pure, peaceful, blissful reality, that is you are. You have been always like that and you will continue to be that. It says. But still the question lingers in us. And when this answer is given about the immortality of our real nature, that this is the real nature of you, there are three kinds of people, and they were also there. They were in the past, through thousands of years, they are in the present, and in future also they will be. One kind of people, they accept it, even without realization, even before realization, they accept it and walk with that acceptance, live their life with the acceptance. Another kind who deny it, refuse to accept it, who decline for their own reasons, and there is third kind who ignore to hear about it. They overlook this question. They say, I don't have any question. These kind of people are also there. They say, I don't want to enter into this kind of argument. I don't have this question in my mind, so I neither accept nor decline. I just remain on the sideline. I don't want to even know because I don't really care for it. That what is the Atman, or is there an Atman or not? In the Upanishad also we find, in the Chandogya Upanishad, there is this place where it says, Asadva idam agre asit. Asadva idam agra asit. After Sandhi it becomes without Sandhi it would be agre. Asadva idam agra asit. In the beginning there was nothing existed. Everything that we see and know and feel, this phenomenal created universe, it appeared from nothing, non-existent. It has been explained that it has been in the Upanishad, we find in the Bhashya of Bhashyakaras, our great teachers. They say no, they are talking about the phenomenal universe. It is not about that the nothing was there, means even the self within was not there, or the all-pervading pure consciousness was non-existent. It is not about that. It is about the phenomenal world. The created form of the universe that has got a name and a form, that lives in the world of relativity. It is being talked about that when they say that there was nothing in the beginning. And then there will be a Charvak from our ancient time who are still there, who say that I can only accept something which is verifiable. The sense perception is the only standard through which things should be verifiable. The validity for acceptance as a reality lies under the scanner of sense perceptions. If my senses cannot check it and verify it, give the truth value of it, then I cannot consider that to be real. It is not a valid way of finding reality. Reality is only that which, etc., which now also we find the same thing. And because of that, they could not accept God or self, because God or self is not verifiable through the senses, cannot be explained and understood even by mind, which is much, much more subtler than the senses. By the way, the senses are very, very subtle. What we see as our senses, this eye, this ear, this tongue, these are not the senses. What they are speaking about, the senses, they are much beyond them. These are the outer appearance of the senses. But this way of refusing to accept anything that is called the self or Atman, it was there in the past. It is now very much there, and it will continue to be in future also. We have to be prepared for that. It will never happen so that people will be, all of them will be accepting the existence of God or existence of Atman. People say they are very scientific minded, and therefore unless and until rationally something is proven and could be verified by the senses, they cannot accept anything rationally. And they consider some such great scientist like Charles Darwin or somebody, they are the proof that they have shown us. But Charles Darwin never spoke about the Atman or God. He only says that how, in spite of so many terrible, terrible challenges that this nature has posed before life, the life continued. This is what Charles Darwin said. Actually, Charles Darwin has proven that there is something which is unbreakable, indestructible, something there within. This continuity of that is what Charles Darwin has proven. What else he has said? He says that whatever happens, however unsurmountable mountain of difficulty the life faces, through millions of years, life continues to win over those obstacles and eventually survives. It changes its forms, it does all sorts of maneuvering, and that is the unstoppable progress of life, which is not visible. Something is there inside. Who has checked the life? Is there any meter or any kind of instrument that can check the life? Nothing. But the continuity of spaces means what? The spaces could just adjust itself and keep on going on and on and on. There is something which is not visible, cannot be tested, cannot be found, what it is, how fat or lean or what energy, nothing can be known. That is there inside. We vaguely call it life. And that life keeps on going on and on and on and it cannot be stopped. This is what Charles Darwin said. Charles Darwin did not deny that there is perhaps something beyond which has got a command and a plan over our life. He did not say anything about that. But there are many who take the cover of scientific approach or some rational thinking, etc. And in fact, a large number of great scientists, they simply say that the subject of the soul or God is beyond our scope. We really don't know. So we cannot explain anything. So we are not talking about it. That's all that they are saying. Some of them have even said that more likely than not that there exists something which we might call God. So these two kinds of questions, they are eternal questions. And there are these kind of categories of people who have been debating. And then comes this very interesting episode of Katha Upanishad, which also I am very sure that most of you have heard again and again, that this Nachiketa has asked to Yama again. That episode was also with Yama, and this episode also is with Yama. That Nachiketa asked that there is a doubt in people's mind. There is a doubt, he asked. This question is, there is a doubt in people's mind that what happens to a man when he dies. Some say he does exist, some say he doesn't. What is the reality? Could you please explain to me what it is? And there lies the inherent question of the reality of the eternal existence and immortality of the soul. That is the main subject matter of all our Upanishads and Bhagavad Gita also. That is the main topic. The immortality of soul. The eternal, indestructible, all-pervading pure consciousness. So that question was asked. Question asked in the form of a doubt. Nachiketa says that there is a doubt in people's mind. Some people say this, some people say that. I want to hear from you to be sure about it. Please explain. That was Nachiketa's question. So we find that there are these different kind of belief systems that were there in the past also. Some believed, some did not believe in the existence of the Atman. But believers are majority. In the past also, in the present also, and in future also. You might say that no, in the medieval period we see that everybody were believer. You won't find the atheist or the Charvak anywhere. In fact, those were the time, the dark period in the medieval time, when anybody who will come out from hiding and say that I don't believe in God, he has to face the consequence, and that was terrible. So that was another time when everybody were religious minded and everybody went to temple or church or mosque or anything. But when the fear is removed from their life and people are allowed to speak out their mind, then there would be a good number of non-believers. Non-believers means they will say, I don't know, I have doubts, I don't accept anything unless it is verifiable, etc. In fact, God is verifiable. In fact, the self is verifiable. The only point is that it is not verifiable in a quick fix way. It is verifiable, and the procedure or the system will be a tedious and a long time practice way, which not everybody is willing to accept, or they are not able to do that. That is why. Otherwise, it is not that God is not verifiable. We know that very famous incident in the life story of Sri Ramakrishna and Swami Vivekananda. He said that, "Sir, have you seen God?" It is such a blunt question. Going to an avatar, God incarnate, and ask him this kind of a question. But this young man, he asked this question, and Sri Ramakrishna also, just without any roundabout way or making it soft anything, he straight away said, yes, I have seen it. And not only that, you can also see. Do you want to see? Then I will tell you what to do. If you can follow those instructions, then you will see God. So it is verifiable. But still, when we think about the believers, that believers in the existence of soul within us, then we find that there is majority of population who believe in the soul, immortality of soul in one form or other. There will be majority. And this population, they come from all walks of life. It is not about who are educated, illiterate, poor or rich, or men or women, or any. There is no distinction or differentiation could be made. And from all walks of life, from all over the world, these people that believe in the existence of the continuity of the self in some form or other, they are in majority. They are in majority that this life continues. Life or something within continues. The continuity believers is, otherwise this Yaksha Prashna will not be meaningful. When it was said that everybody thinks that I'm not going to die, even after seeing people dying, left and right, or other many creatures dying, they feel that there is this intuitive acceptance that I'm not going to die. That acceptance of the self, which is indestructible and immortal, somehow intuitively is accepted. Intuitively it is taken for granted. People hate to believe that they will cease to exist. This is the meaning of why they are intuitively believing that they are going to live on. In fact, when a child is born, he is born with this idea that he will be living. Child grows and becomes a young boy and then young man and grows up. He intuitively believes that I will continue to live. Child doesn't know that there will come a time. There is something called death. Child will not know. Not understand. Even there is a death in the family or somewhere. Child feels that he will be living, continue. Life is for granted. Death is not. It is all next to impossible to automatically accept that death is a reality. Reality in the sense that I will cease to exist one day. So how long it takes for that to correct? That no, there will come a time when I will cease to exist. There is no hard and fast rule. Look at Prince Gautama, who became Buddha. So at age 29, because he was kept in a very protected atmosphere by his father, Suddhodhan, so that he should not see anybody dying or anybody sick or anybody very old. So he did not know and he did not learn there is something called death, the cessation or the end of life till his 29th year's age. When he walked out of his palace and then he saw for the first time some death at one day of his going round his kingdom, then he learned that there is something called death. So this thing, that life is for granted, death is not for granted. Death has to be taught and told and impressed upon us through repeated incidents of death, or from our study, understanding. Slowly we might absorb it, but still we say that I'm not going to die today. So there is an interesting story. I have been talking too serious things, so let me give another break here. So there was a congregation in a church where the pastor came in a winter Sunday morning and found that a good number of his parishioners, they were missing in that village. They did not come to attend the service, so he was not very happy about it. So after the service, when everything ended, he came out, and as he was walking out, he found in a pub nearby, and in England and other places the church and the pub and all this side by side. There he saw several of those absentee parishioners. So he called them. He said, "Hey, come with me. You are here, you did not attend the service, come with me." So they came because their pastor is now have checked them out. And then they brought them into the church and said, "Okay, stand here in line. Those of you who want to go to heaven, you please step out one step towards me." So everybody came one step closer to him except one. So he again said the same thing. He thought that perhaps he did not hear it. So still he stood there. Arrogant man, he stood there. Then the pastor shouted, "What do you mean, Harry? You don't want to go to heaven when you die?" He said, "Oh, when I die, I thought you were going now." That's why he did not come. So nobody wants to die and nobody thinks that he is going to die today. This is very much ingrained in our mind. So, and we see that even this is called clinging to life. In the Yoga Sutra, this is the kleshas, and they count the kleshas: avidya, smita, raga, dvesha, abhinivesha. Clinging to life, the abhinivesha. This is so powerful that even a suicidal man who is trying to commit suicide, if he is stopped on his first attempt when he is trying to commit suicide, it is said that in the very vast majority of them will never try it again. First time, that impulse of going to commit suicide, if it could be stopped, then he will not try to commit suicide again. So this is something which shows that there is a widespread majority of people who are on the side of the continuity, they have got some kind of intuitive feel that it is something within me which will continue to exist. And then there is this immortality factor which then appears in the form of a desire to remain immortal, even when we accept and we believe that someday or other I am going to die. Then they try to remain in the memory of people. One of the signs, as the Upanishad has explained also, that it is about the desire to live before people die, their progeny. People want their children to live on, and that is a shadow of this desire to be immortal. That I have to die, by my children, their children, they will continue. So some way I am going to live on. This is one. Another is that people want to become famous, want to remain in the memory of others. They want to create some kind of art or sculpture or something, or write some books, or become some big ruler, or erect some memorial something somewhere. And by those, they want to remain in the memory of people, the desire to be immortal. Even the ordinary people, they go to some historical places and then they etch their name on some nearby stones or a tree bark or something. Everybody wants to be famous. Everybody wants to be leaving behind them something. And what is that? Why they do this? Nowadays, of course, people want some kind of other kind of fame through Facebook or something. They want to be in the people's knowledge and memory and something. This is the same instinct of immortality within, which people are intuitively having within. That I cannot die. I should not die. This feel of immortality. But when again people will ask that why this happens, that why people want to be immortal, then we have to come back to the answers that we get in the Vedanta. It is the Vedanta who explains that because you are immortal, it is intuitively coming out. You really don't know who you are, but intuitively you can feel that you are immortal. You are that eternally existing, immortal soul, the all-pervading pure consciousness, which has no beginning, no end. It was not born in time, it is not going to end in time. It is a changeless reality. This is the nature of that all-pervading reality, and you are that. Because of that. This is the answer. This answer we get in Vedanta only. Other religions also have got their answers. In fact, answers are only to be found in religions. The answer of why people do not want to die, or do not feel that they are going to die, why this yaksha prashna that Yudhishthira said, Sesa sthavaram icchanti. This why happens, this is answered. People answer in many different ways, God, this, that. But Vedantas go straight away into the center of this question. And they say, because you are not going to die. That is true. When you feel that I am not going to die, you are right. This is intuitively you are knowing it. Just you do not know it clearly yet, and therefore your identification with your physical body will make you feel like still you are dying. That is the problem. Otherwise, intuitively you know, and that is the ultimate reality. So Vedanta explains the real man. That real man is immortal. Vedanta talks about the continuity of life in that fashion. That it is the soul which is actually behind the continuity, not the apparent person. The person that appears in the physical form or even in the way of the life force that is known as prana, the vital force. Even that is not eternally existing, eternally lasting a thing. Just like the vital force is behind our physical appearance, we cannot see the prana, but we feel like there is some vital force or energy that is activating and supporting our existence, our life, all our activities. We can feel that, but even behind that vital force, even behind the mind functioning, the mind and the intellect, which cannot be verified by any physical instruments, it is not verifiable. It is only intuitively it can be seen. Mind cannot be verified. Mind cannot be known and seen. And what is this mind is purely a guesswork. Suppose the psychiatrists, they are studying the people's mind and they are trying to treat people's mind and etc. etc. This is pure guesswork. That if a person does like this, then perhaps he is doing like that. If a person does like this, perhaps this is the feeling inside. It is about many different studies, and according to those studies, this is a feeling. What is going in one's own mind, nobody can see and nobody can know. It is that subtle. Prana and mind and intellect, everything that is in the subtle body, Sukshma Sarira, that can never be understood or studied and known by these scientific, so-called scientific methods of verification. This cannot be. That is the Sukshma. But the Atman or the pure soul, it is way beyond and behind even this subtle level of who I feel I am. It goes much beyond that. Vedanta talks about the continuity of that Atman, of the soul. And it says that this is that continuity of the soul which is all-pervading pure consciousness. It has, when we look it into the universal form, that it had pervaded everything and anything, then we call it Brahman. And when we think about one individual soul as a continuous existence, then we call it Atman. And in Vedanta they have talked about it in very clear and very direct way. But we have to understand one thing, that this is not dogma. When we say that the Vedanta has said this, Vedanta has said that, Upanishad has explained this, Gita has said that, this is not a dogma that we just, you hear it, listen it, remember it, go home. Then it will be a dogma. That do you belong to my sect or religion? Then you have to accept these things, that this is true. This is true, that Atman is like this and Brahman is like that, and they are birthless, deathless, eternal, continuous, all-pervading, pure existence, because it is written in the book. And because I am saying you, that's why you believe it, and you have to accept it. If Vedanta says like that, then Vedanta will be a dogma, all the message of Vedanta. messages of Vedanta is not a dogma. It is a fact. Why? Because it is verifiable. It is verifiable, and anyone and everyone is free to test it for himself or herself and know for sure that whether it is true or not. That's why it is not a dogma, it is a fact. This truth about Atman, this truth about the immortality of the soul, this answers the question that when Yudhishthir said to Yaksha that everyone thinks that I am not going to die, I am not going to die. This is what he answered. But after this answering, if somebody will raise this question in his own mind, that why everybody thinks that I am not going to die? This question was not there in that Yaksha Prashna. But people, if they ask, the answer is that because he is immortal, that's why. Because it is a faint sound, a vibration, something is coming from within, and that is telling the person that he is not going to die, he is immortal. The Vedanta says that everything is all about these 5 things. Asti, Bhati, Priya, Nam, Rupa. These are the 5 things. This Asti, Bhati, Priya thing, that means Sat, Chit, Ananda. This was always there and it will continue to be there even when this creation will not be there. Nama and Rupa, the name and the form, this is a special effect created by a magical power called Maya. So the eternally existing, changeless Brahman with its own special power, Maya, has appeared in the form of manifested phenomenal universe, creation. And all people, individual soul, they are all 5 of them together. Occasionally, the last 2 portions, the Nam and Rupa, which are continuously changing and changing and changing from one life to another life to another life, and within the same birth, continuously changing the form, the appearance, even the subtle body, the continuous changes in the inner subtle body, the way we feel, the way we think, the way we react, it is not the same from the childhood to our youth to our old age. Constantly the subtle body also undergoing changes. Everything belongs to the Nama-Rupa portion. And one day or at some point of time, when we shall be successful in dropping the Nama-Rupa factor, then we shall remain what we are. The first 3 portions, Asti, Bhati, Priya. This Sat, Chit, Ananda portion. Until then, like a musk deer, this is a wonderful similarity given as an example in our scriptures. A musk deer, when it is old enough, then it secretes a very, very powerful fragrance from its navel portion. And when that happens, then the deer can smell it, but doesn't know where from it is coming. So the deer is running here, there, everywhere. It thinks that, oh, that is wonderful. I want to know the source of that fragrance. It doesn't know. But it knows that there is a fragrance there, and it runs everywhere. The fragrance is in its own body existing. Everybody, all over the world, all people, when, like that answer of that Yaksha Prashna, when they feel that yes, I see everyone dies, but I'm not going to die. Pastor, I thought that you are going to heaven right now, so I did not step up. I'm not yet ready. I can wait. Then they are like the musk deer, and they can shed off this nama rupa one day, and that is the process of our practicing religion according to Vedanta. So thank you very much for giving me this time to talk to you, and thank you, Maharaj. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Sri Rama Krishna Arpanamastu.